So with the summer event finally at its end and everyone enjoying their SU-25, their HMS Renown, or the Finnish CTCV 105 HP, which is still a mouthful of a name, by the way, so for simplicity's sake, I'm calling it the Patria. What better way to celebrate the event than by figuring out what to do with the vehicle? Now, this is a huge conundrum for most players where they can't decide whether or not they want to sell the vehicle, keep it, or even invest in more copies to sell a little bit later down the line. And that is what we're going to go ahead and talk about in today's video, or at least in today's talking head. Now, please keep in mind, I'm only going to be talking about the Patria itself, the SU-25 and the Renown. I'll be real with you, I don't have too much experience with both of those vehicles. Sure, I have played them, but not really to the extent that I am comfortable with to share with you. Now, I will say this. The SU-25T as well as the SU-39 supposedly in the next update are getting R73s as well, which kind of limits the uniqueness of this current vehicle, which in my opinion kind of brings down that value just a little bit. As for the boats, I'll be real with you, I have been having a very difficult time getting good games, and maybe I'm not using it right, maybe I just suck at naval, which is a good possibility. I don't play it that much, but it is something that I would rather not speak about in pure detail. So should you decide you want to go ahead and buy either one of those or keep them, that is at your own discretion. Today is all about the Patria. Now, before I go ahead and dive into the details of the Patria, there's one important thing I would like to let you know, and that is everything I'll be talking about and showing you is based off my own personal experiences. Meaning that just because you own this or buy this doesn't mean you'll be getting the exact same experience that I have gotten with this vehicle. You could be better, you could be worse. It really comes down to how you play, well, as a player, proper map positioning, shot placement, etc. So kind of take everything with a bit of a grain of salt. All right, so let's dive into this. What is this vehicle? Well, if you want a more detailed viewing of this, I do have a video listed right up here. It does show you all the gameplay, the direct overview, etc. And not much of this vehicle has really changed since its initial release. So that video is very much up to date. Now, to go in shorts, this is a battle rating 10.0 light tank for the Swedish high tier lineup. It is a Finnish vehicle, kind of keep that in mind because a lot of you guys get upset when I say Sweden, Finland. It's all in the same area, okay? It has 105. It has an amazing sable round, great reload speed of 5 seconds, great mobility, as well as wonderful thermal sights. I think it's a Gen 3 thermal sight. It could be 2 or 3. And to be honest, they both look the same to me at this point. You also have tandem warhead missiles, and you have a wonderful amount of elevation, except the biggest Achilles heels of this vehicle is you have almost no armor. So any sort of autocannon that engages you from pretty much any distance in any angle will probably destroy you pretty quick, I would know. Now, unfortunately, the only way to acquire this vehicle outside of, well, partaking in the event is by using the Gaijin marketplace, which means that you're going to be spending up to 30 Gaijin coin, at least from the time of this video's recording, to purchase this vehicle. But thankfully, right now, there's over 4,000 of these coupons still available, which means that this price is likely not going to go down anytime soon. But I'll get more into those details a little bit later in the video. All right, I'm going to go off script for this one and just say in my own honest, brutal, off the top of my head words, this thing is worth that price. For 30 Gaijin coin or under 30 Gaijin coin, hell, I would even say this thing is worth picking up multiple copies of to save a little bit later down the line. Now, of course, I'm not going to be playing stock market with you guys and say you should get this because you'll get a return on it later. That's not always true. Gaijin has a good way of putting these in crates, putting these in certain events where you can use silver lines to earn them. They've been a little bit more common about those, which means that these vehicles' prices are going to be somewhat stagnant for at least the foreseeable future. Now, this opinion may change as years come by, as you take a look at vehicles like the C2A1, the AM60 AMBT, etc., which were relatively simple vehicles to acquire, but they are worth now at times over 100 or slightly above 100 Gaijin coin, which means that those who made the investment from one of these vehicles were worth just about as much as the Patria at given points are now making profit. But then again, that is years later. But there's one important thing a lot of people and even creators are not really talking about, and that is how this vehicle was spammed to hell and back. Now, this is a very common occurrence for when it comes to these types of events, from crafting to the market distinction and even some holiday events. Gaijin allows us to be able to bring in as many of these vehicles in a single game. In fact, at points, there were even mixed games where it was just Patria versus Patria. Now, of course, being the person that I am, I did kind of abuse the situation by using vehicles such as the BMP3, the 2M, and the Freccia. Oh, the Freccia was such a wonderful experience, just tanking, not rounds per se, but being a good tank against all of these vehicles, which made for a wonderful experience. It didn't help out too much with the players who were using it, because most of the time, a lot of them were newer individuals who had no idea what they were doing, and they left after the single death. I feel kind of mean for saying that, actually. I just like to abuse the certain vehicles to kind of get the advantage, but then again, everyone does that too. And because of that, most players are now either going back to the respective BRs, to their game modes, which is aviation or naval, etc., and are no longer playing this vehicle as much as they like to, which makes a lot of sense. You want to spend the time to play this thing in a more, I wouldn't really say controlled environment, but a more, okay, I'm going to say this, more sophisticated environment where you're not going to be fighting alongside 300 other Patrias that everyone is doing the exact same thing. No, things are going to be very slow for the time being, which means that you should be able to get your grind on with this thing, as it does require you to grind all the modules as you would a normal tech tree vehicle. Wow, that actually came out like that. Sorry, it is early in the morning here. But when it comes to my own personal experiences with the Patria in a more controlled and uncontrolled environment, with that being the spam, it's a fun vehicle. It is very responsive. It's a wheel vehicle, which means that you are going to be struggling just a little bit in this thing, which means that you're not going to be able to pivot. It'd be nice if it was kind of like an AMX 10 RC situation where it can pivot on itself for the most part, but it cannot on this one. But you do have a wonderful ability to get off some really nasty snapshots, simply because this vehicle has amazing turret rotation, at least with an expert crew, at around 42.5 degrees, and the vertical targeting, which I think is the best for a normal cannon vehicle that's not an SPAA, at around 43 degrees a second. That is better than even the Leopards, the Abrams, the T-80 PVMs, which sit around 30 degrees. So again, being able to get off those snapshots with this is a wonderful experience, and is one that I should say to you, you should try. And there's really no downside to this vehicle, really, outside the fact that it is a light tank. But when you play with that knowledge in mind, that this is a light, thinly armored vehicle, you can get away with quite a few things. Early game positioning, awesome sniping spots with those Gen 2 Plus thermal sights, and even more so the fact that you have a wonderful lineup, at least for the time being. And if we switch over to the game itself, you'll see right here that, 9040C, brilliant vehicle. You have the CV9105, which I recommend as well. LVKV, this one, the Bill. I mean, this is a pretty wonderful lineup to which I can make just a little bit better, I think. Maybe even at 10.3. No, this is as good as it's going to get, huh? If only the MI28 was back to 10.0, that would have made this thing the top tier without being top tier lineup for sure. But at the end of the day, if you are someone who is on the fence about picking up this vehicle from the marketplace, I would say pull that trigger. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm getting paid to say it. All right, maybe the ad revenue here on YouTube, that's pretty much it. But I'm not being paid by Gaijin. My 3% discount code doesn't even help you guys in this area. So again, I'm not seeing any benefit to this. I am simply saying that this is essentially a top tier vehicle. And if you are someone who doesn't have any sort of top tier and you want to experience just a taste of it in a very versatile, well-performing platform, in my opinion, although it's a wheeled vehicle, this is a good purchase, I would say. Although, if you don't know what you're doing, and let's say you're a brand new player, level 1, just started the game, you use mommy's credit card and you bought this thing, it's not going to treat you well. It only treats you as well as you treat it. If you make any sort of mistake, maybe you go around a corner just barreling down it thinking I can get away with it, you probably will not be able to, because either autocannons will get you or players will knock you out, because the top tier experience is very much filled with what I would like to think anyways, experienced players. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know exactly what you think down in the comments section below. Is this a worthwhile purchase? Are you enjoying your Patria? Let me know exactly what you guys think, and I will chime in my 2 cents as per usual. And if you want to see more talking head videos like this, feel free to let me know as well, as really it comes down to what you guys want to see. Now, for the time being, you won't be seeing too much content released, not really soon per se. I am waiting for the major update to drop, which should be around Tuesday or Wednesday from the time you are watching this video, which means that it is going to be a very busy week for the channel. But if you want to see this gameplay live for the meantime, you are more than welcome to check out my live streams over on Twitch. Link is down below in the description. And again, if you want to support me as a creator, use my 3% discount code if you buy anything in the War Thunder normal store, not the marketplace. Does it work for Gaijin Coin? I don't know. No one's told me yet. It might. I figured that out a little bit later myself. But anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope you guys make the right decision for you. Buy it, don't buy it, whatever you believe. And I will see you not only in the next video or even the streams, but most certainly in War Thunder itself. And even in my upcoming video, which is not going to be War Thunder related, I think. We'll see. I'll see you next time.